Hey everybody, this is Kodak here, and I just got back from the Dragoborne pre-release. It is a game by Bushiroad, and since everybody knows I am kind of biased against Bushiroad, I have brought in somebody who is not so biased against Bushiroad. So, ladies and gentlemen, our very own Kingvire.
Hi everybody. Yeah, I'm the Bushiroad fanboy.
Okay, so this demo apparently kind of dropped out of nowhere, much to the surprise of the folks at the store. Like, I actually went and asked them at the store, and they didn't know what was going on. So at first I was thinking it's like your normal demo event, you know, somebody gets sent a set of demo decks and they come out and demonstrate it. But no, they actually had the folks from Bushiroad where they're demoing it, and it's a game. It's very similar to Duel Masters, like painfully so, but at the same time is apparently created by one of the people who worked on Duel Masters, so that might explain a thing or two. They gave out 50 card demo decks here. It's part of I think they called it a demo caravan.
Yeah, so they're traveling around from state to state, shop to shop, demoing the event with one of the person who worked on it and one of the advertising agents. So it's pretty cool.
And yeah, if apparently they are also showing these off at like the Vanguard like regionals.
Yeah. So pretty much the judges were giving out demo decks, and everyone who plays, every time you play a game, you got a promo. They only got the generic red and green that we got here. You see those? These are the only ones they gave out the regionals. So these the black and blue ones we got here are the caravan exclusives, and they're actually in the main set. They're in the first set, so.
And the red and green ones, those are like just art versions of the cards. Normally they have an effect.
Yeah, they're just generic, so they won't have any effect when the new set comes out. They'll just be over-costed generics.
Alright, so I'm taking a look at the cards here. And what it is it sets up similar to Duel Masters, where you have shield cards. You get 6 of them, but they're divvied up into 3 forts that you have to protect. And each of those 3 forts, you can put like 2 monsters in them as well. So the idea is you're trying to attack your opponent's forts while defending your own forts. And the twist, their game uses dice. And what it is you have, basically you start the game with 3 banners, and these actually aren't your forts. They're actually like your starting mana, and depending on which banners you have, those are the colors of dice you start with. And you can actually plunk a dice in front of a
fort to give shield, yeah.
Yeah, so like you roll your dice at the start of your turn. Whatever you get as a high number is like how much that dice can protect for, and you have to like place it in front of the same colored banner. So monocolored decks are going to get a bit of an advantage there. Like I just played at the beginning of this. I played the instructions that we were given by one of the people who worked on it. Go ahead.
So for the fort thing, I don't know how many people you've played Luck and Logic. Not a lot of people ever did, but so you pretty much had your like field, and you had gate cards that cards were placed on to protect. And you had your columns, and once you broke open the column, you could break through entirely. It's kind of like that. I think it's a little bit better than that, because you're not. If you break open a column, you don't have access to the whole back row. You just have access to that next shield.
Oh.
Dropping cards.
Yeah, I'm dropping cards. Like, I'm looking at the demo deck, and it's like these are all the red cards, and these are everything else. It is a very red slanted deck. I guess because red is clearly the aggression card. So, a little bit more on it. You can play any card in your deck as a resource. They have the icon on the bottom. That is Duel Master standard. So yeah, even though I'm not a big fan of Bushiroad, I will admit that they are at least competent when it comes to game design, which is more than I can say for a lot of things. Like Kaijudo, like the original Duel Masters had these reminder icons on them, but Kaijudo, the remake, did not, and I think that's one of the things that made it confusing. It's the same with the new Dragon Ball Super card game. You play resources exactly the same as
we played a game. We just kind of like I kept just placing them down. And I remember.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super. You play the resources the exact same way, and they don't have any of those reminder symbols on there. So they at least have that, and each of your banners, basically you get, they're your starting lands. So you basically start with 3 resources in play at the start of the game. I guess to take out some of the SAG, although that can have its own effect, but it's the Duel Masters rule. in order to play a card, you must have just at least one color that matches.
I'm sure that later on there'll be cards that require multiple colors of that. Right now it's just the one, yeah.
There might be. I know like the Dragon Ball Super, they have the little dots next to the casting cost. I don't know if they'll do that. So far, I haven't seen anything that does anything fancy. It would not surprise me if they put out like some banner cards that do some fancy things. So, go ahead.
I definitely like the banner a lot. It keeps running mana through it, but I think starting with 3 can sometimes be a much. Because on first turn, I threw out 2 big. I threw down an effect damage dealer and a can't be blocked card, and I felt like that was a really strong opening turn. I felt like it was too strong.
That was Goblin Madcap and Logress Swiftblade. I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm. Like that's a really strong opening turn to throw down a card that breaks shields and can get around guard on your first turn. That's a big thing to do.
That's pretty serious. So yeah, that's kind of the thing about the early game slump is you're able to gather some resources, you're able to strategize ahead a little bit. You can't attack on your first turn if you go first.
And you also don't get a resource, so you don't get any extra mana, you don't get to play a land or call a stone.
You do get to draw though, so
yes. It's your standard stand and draw like all Bushiroad games. Except you roll the dice in between standing and drawing.
Yeah.
Which is going to get real hard. I think they should put it after the draw, just because people come jumping around from Bushiroad game to Bushiroad game.
Yeah. Drawing is like a symbolic start of a turn. When a game throws away drawing at the start of a turn, it better have a darn good reason. Light Seekers. The reason they threw it away is because basically you draw for not spending an action, which means if you're stuck on your turn, you draw 2 cards and get more options.
I think they could have very well done the die at the beginning of the main phase, because you don't assign die till the main phase. Like, if you roll a 6, you can put the 6 wherever you want at any point during the main phase. So they could have very well just put this at the beginning of the main phase.
Yeah, or maybe the last thing you can do. Some of the spell cards actually, depending on the dice you have in play, you can also bond a dice to a monster.
To Drago Cross.
That's Drago Crossing.
Yeah, it gives you +1/+1.
Yeah, it's, although there's some cards that actually have different benefits from it. Like there's a red card, Harpy Huntress, that while they have a Dragoborne, while they have a dice on them, they actually get an additional +1/+1. And it's cost 2 and it gets +1 when you play it, the turn you play it. So it can become a 5/4 on the first turn you play it. And you can play it first turn, so that can be really scary.
Yeah, that's also definitely like a. It seems like red is following the normal thing of red. Green, I'm not really sure of. Like green and yellow, I really didn't experience anything with green and yellow that were like unique.
Well, like I said, the deck is like half red, so that's probably why.
But then,
although green has Primeape in it, Primeape Javelineer, and then there's it's 4 cost 5/4. Then they have Prismatic King. It's a 5 cost 5/5. So that seems a little strange. Why would you run Prismatic King over Javelineer?
From a lot of the stuff I saw, like the green is pretty much going to be like your animal men.
Yeah.
And
that's
like
usually
your forest and stuff, yeah. Like
and yellow's going to be the paladins. It's going to be white. Red is your goblins and your trolls.
They have a white or a clear die on their promotional thing when they were teaching us the rules. So the first set has 5 colors. So I'm assuming white will come out in the second set, or white will be like your non-aligned color.
Yeah, white was unaligned, which I assume is clear. But yeah, yellow's basically the equivalent to white. I am based on the big card in the deck is a yellow card. It's Sunscale Dragon. It's 4/7. It's clearly there to intercept cards like Runic Battlesmith, which is a 6/3. Any of these beaters that are like cheap and have 6 power, you're going to see a lot of use because they can guarantee to break through any dice you use in defense. But at the same time, it's still Duel Masters, so it's just like Duel Masters. But my game uses dice. I can't help but shake that.
To be fair, I think the dice inclusion is a neat thing to do, but I also think I really don't think we needed these die, but they needed some random way to assign shield value, and this is just the easiest way to do it.
So your fortune changes in between turns.
And then they talked about that the die were going to be super common to get. He said you get die in the starter decks, you get die in the booster sets. He talked about getting promotional die. I mean, like, apparently these things you're just gonna have a bunch of die.
Well, we'll see if that happens. I hope they make them really easy to get, because here's the thing about dye: you can use them for other things. So if they make it like super easy to get dye, if they sell sets of dye, people can buy dye and just use them for anything else.
So these little dye have these cool little like dragon faces on them. I doubt you can see them.
That's in place of the one, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, if you make some bigger ones, some clear ones, just make a pack of 6, I'd spend some money on that.
Yeah, and if you make them translucent so that they still have the color but are see-through, then they'd be tournament legal for basically anything.
Or you just make them clear and then make the little dots on them the color instead of doing that. That'd be neat too.
That too, yeah.
He said that you get one of each color dye when you buy a booster box. That doesn't sound very common to me. Like a whole booster box, which is normally 30 packs for a Bushiroad game, or 24 for new Vanguard.
They love their booster box specials, don't they?
Yeah. So like, my only fear is Buddy Fight has been doing this a lot, where when you buy a booster box way ahead of time, like 2 months ahead of time, you get promos and special items. It's like doing that. Most stores can't do that. So yeah. I hope they don't go that way with this, because they've made some expensive promos by doing that in Buddy Fight. Vanguards, you get a mat. It's like a mat, or you get a deck box. We can live without that.
The Buddy Fight used to do mats, I think. Well,
yeah.
That's if you buy a case, I think.
If you buy 4 boxes.
Yeah.
So these price point at 70, well, 69 for most stores, 70, 75 for those that don't do Bushiroad. So that's not standard with the Weiss. So
yeah, speaking of don't do Bushiroad, the store that they showed up at actually doesn't do Bushiroad.
Yeah, they had no idea that they were coming. I watched the guy, I was like, "We're here for Bushiroad." It's like, no, we don't sell Bushiroad.
Like we came in like a couple days before. We were like the only heads up this store got that they were going to be visiting here. So.
Yeah, it was a 3-man demo event.
Yeah.
Plus,
4. I think somebody brought his son.
Yeah.
One of the was that the sales manager?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, he brought his son. It's also, I asked questions about like future cards that have effects in the resource event, like in the resource section. He said that was a possibility. Like those type of lands in Magic and those type of stones in Force of Will are so sought after and so important to the game that like if they don't do that, they're going to pretty much start slowing down their game to the point where we're just going to be playing a bunch of like 1-2 drop effects over like actually big bosses or.
Although, speaking of the resource row, the thing is, you don't, like, pick a card from your hand and put it down. It's not like Buddy Fight where you charge and draw. No, you take the top card of your deck and put it into your...
So you play the one-of matchup card. It happens all the time. You play the one-of. But if it gets in the resource event, like the resource section, you're just out of luck.
And it kind of gives like monocolor decks. I honestly think are going to be beating out a lot of multicolor decks. Multicolor decks would need a real advantage because with a monocolor deck, once you start losing forts, if you have all 3 of the same dice, you can pick your best die to slam in front, and your mana is always going to be the right color since you get it as a lottery. So I imagine monocolor decks are gonna see a lot of sway.
Even, I didn't have much trouble with 3 color, but like 3. Like, essentially, because if you have 3...
With the 3 mana that I had a hand that was, like, pretty much nothing but red cards.
Well, I mean, but you're at least starting with 1 color of each mana, so you can play... So, essentially, you can play any 3 cost or less card you start with.
That's true. But at the same time, it cuts down the number of cards you can play per turn. Like, if I top decked, like, Goblin Madcap and Harpy Huntress and, like, a bunch of other red cards, I could only pick one of them to play on my first turn. I want to be able to play both.
So. That is true. I think 2 color decks are probably gonna be the
one
best.
with a favored color, like all the red here.
I'm definitely leaning towards a black myself because this black promo is pretty much targeted strike for any Force of Will or I don't know the name in Magic anymore. But you can attack any rested card of a specific color. This one happens to be yellow, so he can attack any rested yellow, and then whenever he drag crosses, he can rest a yellow card. So that seems like a pretty powerful skill.
Yeah. Well, what's his cost?
4. He's a 4/4.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I mean, like that.
Although keep in mind, if you drag across a card, you're basically dropping a defender. Although that's a card that gets really good once you lose a fort, because once you lose a fort, you can still play monsters there, but you don't have to defend it anymore. So the dice you normally use to defend it instead start going to your monsters.
See, like if this is the key mechanic of black, which is control over specific colors, I really think that's gonna be cool. And then blue is still blue. It's your control, your counter. Like the blue card we got is she rests a creature whose attack is less than her endurance or her defense. Yeah. So,
red is looking. It's going to be the hyper aggression deck. It actually breaks the curve because we have our yellow Bountiful Angel is a 3-cost 3/3, and then the red 3-cost is a 4/3, the Bone Club Giant. So red kind of breaks the curve. I imagine it being like the hyper aggression. I didn't really get a very good impression of how yellow or green work in this deck. I got a great impression of how red works in this deck because of just how many cards you got from it.
I definitely think the Longress, the 3/1 Longress Swissblade, the one that can't be blocked by characters with 1 or less power, is definitely going to be a good card for yellow to start off with.
Yeah, it's a 3/1 as well, so it can break.
That's probably why she has that effect overall.
It can break a dice halfway.
Yeah. I used her a lot in that game. I liked her.
Is that a she? Looks like a dude from here.
I don't know. It's Bushiroad.
Swift as the wind. It's up in the air. They don't even say it on the card. It's a gender fluid character. Why not?
The art. I did have a problem with the art.
Really?
I like the World of Warcraft style art, but it doesn't feel like a Bushiroad art.
That's true. Although apparently this game is only in English so far, so
this is an English exclusive release. It will probably get released to Japan. So
I'm seeing mostly aliases on here for the people who drew the art.
Yeah.
Like Pompadour and Aria and Chris Edge.
Yeah,
it's all aliases. I'm not seeing...
Bushiroad does that a ton.
They do?
Like, there's one art that's really well known. It's Minerva from Genesis. So the Minerva artist uses a alias because she also does adult art.
Wow. Aki Aishi.
So
it looks like it's all Amin Naksawi. It looks like a lot of it looks like it's. I'm seeing lots of aliases on here, but I'm assuming a lot of these are Japanese artists.
It's definitely the dragons are definitely magic style art, but all the people are like World of Warcraft style art.
Oh yeah, Althane's Blessing, that is World of Warcraft times 11,000.
Also, this card is unique because here it says 1 to 3. You get to choose 2 characters to get +2/+2 to. But if you have that 4 to 6, you draw a card instead. Personally, I'd rather have the first effect.
And that's based on the dice you have to play. Well, that's another thing in favor of mono card decks, because if you have a dice in each of these values, then you get both of them.
This is also a card that I definitely think you want to play like 3 or 4 of.
I think they gave you 4.
Yeah. So that'd definitely be a good card for yellow. Also, every card in the demo deck is also in the first set.
Yeah.
So you can have a little bit of a head start, which is nice. A lot of time when they use demo decks, they're like real useless cards you just get in the trial deck or something.
Like Human Shield Krillin.
Yes.
Although, I guess the idea of Human Shield Krillin is
to work with the Goku.
There's a Goku. So Human Shield Krillin jumps in the way, and then Goku gets so buff and angry that nothing else can attack him. I guess that's the strategy of Human Shield Krillin. A niche play.
One thing I realized with the gameplay was like the very beginning of the game was super aggro, but the very end of the game was super defensive. And like normally in like Vanguard and Buddy Fight, the beginning of the game is your defensive time, and the end of the game is like, I just need to kill them. But this was like, I'm trying to survive over I'm trying to kill.
I didn't really get that. My game ended in 3 turns.
Yeah.
Because I basically squashed him.
Also, the 2 characters per fort with no cost or power limit. I think if you have some way of pulling out cards real easily from your deck or your hand, or like limiting their cost, that's gonna get real nutty. Like, I haven't gotten to see too much of this game, but...
Well, you can't necessarily attack with everything you have. Like,
yeah,
in order to actually break a fort in a single turn, you would have to first break the die, then you would have to break...
the blockers.
Yeah, break the blockers. Like, that's half your team dedicated to that. And then what do you got left to
block?
And then that's not even including the cards they have to block. And we have cards like Sunscale Dragon, which are clearly designed to just camp there.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they'll put out any cards that are just blocker unique.
Well, just with the blocker text and have like no attack,
like Defender, yeah.
Well, like I mean,
or cards with Defender, like you said.
Like the blue card we got, the Keeper, is pretty much that.
Pretty much Defender, yeah.
So she only gets her effect when she blocks. So another cool thing that I asked was, so each card has attack and endurance, which is attack and defense.
Yeah.
But they also have a hidden third stat called damage. When their damage equals their endurance, they die. So the damage doesn't like not in Magic. Like you don't lose defensive power, and you don't lose attacking power when you take damage.
So it's not like so dealing damage it doesn't last the turn, or does it last till the end of the turn?
It stacks damage counters on it, so it has this hidden third stat that when damage and endurance equal, they die. But she'll always have 5 endurance, unless somebody lowers her endurance.
Magic the Gathering, what it is the damage sticks around until the end of the turn, then goes away. Is that how it works here?
Yeah, but it doesn't affect their stats at all.
Okay.
Which I'd rather be at the Magic way, where it's like, if she took 3 damage, she's now a 2/2, so you have to be careful. But it's like... Which I guess you still have to be careful, but you don't have to be as careful with spells and things like that. That would lower that endurance to 0 or something. That would kill it.
Oh, then there was this ambush thing. I don't know if we talked about ambush yet.
No.
Ambush is basically any card that has an ambush effect. Ambush always costs 2, so it will be a mystery. It's not like, oh, I'm going to tap 6 and drop an ambush, and your opponent will be like, I'm staying away from that. Well, what it does is it activates, basically it goes in front of your fort. It's like a trap. Like they actually have like a spike trap as like the art on the playmat. Oh yeah, I should probably bust out the playmat.
If you ever played Battle Spirits have cards called Bursts, which activate through certain conditions.
Yeah.
It's similar to that, and I love Bursts in Battle Spirits. They're like you only have 1 in play at a time, unlike this one, where you can have 1 in front of each fort. Yeah. But they make the game so much more fun and so crazy because they have like nullify damage, or heal, or call, or discard, or destroy.
Big old poster here.
Yeah, that's actually a nice looking poster.
Yeah, and something else I missed is another one. I think was I think it's called Fort Break.
Yeah. So it's
trigger.
Burst. It's shield burst.
It's shield trigger. Yeah, or shield burst. I guess they call it in Kaiju. It's shield trigger in Duel Masters. You can tell that Bushiroad has
EX Burst in Final Fantasy.
EX Burst. Yeah. Bushiroad. I've said it before, I think I'll say it again. Duel Masters is basically how to make a card game 101. Bushiroad has always copied a lot from Duel Masters. This is like them flat out admitting it. Although apparently that guy who they have a very Sean. Or is it Sean?
Yeah, Sean.
The guy who they gave the really unflattering photo of in the trailer.
Oh. Yeah.
He apparently worked on Duel Masters, which can explain some of the comparison here. So yeah, here's the game mat. Here you have the forts. These are what you want to protect. The banners are where your starting resources go. You can only put dice of the same color to block in front of your banner, and then here's the ambush zone.
So we also talked about the banners there.
Yeah.
Me and one of the developers that was there teaching us. So he made the connection to Buddy Fight, how flags have special effects or special conditions. So it's making me think that maybe there's a banner in the work that has like, you can only play 2 banners, but this banner counts for all of it? Or something?
Or maybe there's like a banner that only creates generic but has an effect.
Yeah. It's like I don't know why he made that connection to Buddy Fight flags.
Yeah, because all those really do is tell you what kind of cards you can play. Although I think like what is it, the Dragon Ein or Zwei Drive.
Dragon Ein, Zwei Drive.
They have different effects.
Guardians,
yeah, they can affect there's one that like makes it so like you can't play spell cards, but you start with 12 health.
And you can only play monsters, but all the monsters have effects in hand anyway.
Yeah.
That just he put that out ahead himself. So I definitely think there's gonna be some unique or special effect banners out there.
Well, I imagine it will come around. So.
I don't know what else.
I don't know what else to say.
Okay. Advertising for this game has been crap.
Yeah, they've got a ripoff of the Hearthstone trailer, and everybody says whenever you see a low frame rate CG dragon to run.
So the trailer for this is at the end of every card fight, every buddy fight episode. It's 6 minutes long. And
it's the Hearthstone trailer where you have. People,
it's a goblin attacking a human, and there's a wizard casting a spell to summon a dragon.
And you have characters who are like barely moving or like lightly animated with Blender, who are saying like vaguely important sounding lines. I have seen that Hearthstone trailer knocked off so many times. I'm sick of it. I'm a little surprised that a professional company actually stooped to that.
So Bushiroad is really bad at advertising anything to not Bushiroad players.
Yeah.
If you don't play Bushiroad, you almost never know about Bushiroad unless you go through it, an actual person already plays.
Yeah.
So Card Fight first season is going to be on Disney XD later this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
Well, I guess it's a premium cable network. They're not subject to the FCC guidelines that would make it illegal to show anywhere else.
So it's like, that's getting it out there, but that's season 1. That's nothing to do with what is now.
The worst season, the one that made me hate the game.
They should start with G. That'll at least teach you the new mechanics and teach you a better idea of how to play with the new mechanics.
And not have the incredibly crappy first season.
But
the one that made me
season
hate
1 of
the
G
game.
is terrible, but Bushiroad in general is terrible at marketing games. In general, I think.
Yeah, they're not very good at cartoons. I think the show they're most proud of is called Milky Holmes, and it is really bad.
Like they splatter Milky Holmes through like most of the first 4 seasons of Card Fight.
It is really bad.
And they put Card Fight and Buddy Fight, and Buddy Fight and Card Fight, so they're just trying to like make it a whole canon thing.
Basically, there's a girl whose name is Sherlock Holmes. She and her 4 like vaguely magical girl-looking friends do really stupid stuff for no reason.
That's like, it's also, they canceled Luck and Logic in English. Luck and Logic did really bad in English for this game, I had a little bit of salt on that, but then they never marketed this game outside of that one commercial, so I never really had any idea of what it was.
Yeah, somebody had to tell me about it.
Until they randomly announced demos at a regional, and I had no idea.
Yeah, I think I had to tell him that this demo event was even going on.
Yeah, I was like,
somebody who does not like Bushiroad, was somehow more on top of
and it's
this
also,
than...
their Card of the Day is on their Facebook page. Good luck looking at Card of the Days, because they only give you links to the Card of the Day page, which updates every day. Oh. So you're going to just lose all the information for every card. Like, it's not like Card Fighter, the Buddy Fighter, the Weiss one, where it's just like, they take a picture of the card and put it up there. It's a link to a page that updates every day. So I was trying to look through some old cards, but I couldn't find anything, and there's no wiki that's going to list the apparently 150 card set that this first set is.
150, what a lightweight. Lightseeker started with 400.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have. They really should not have.
And they're doing the same thing they started with. Vanguard's done a lot better with their trial decks. They now include 2 or more of every card. So you only need to buy 2, and it's $15 instead of $18 to $20.
Yeah, that's something I hope Lightseekers catches up with.
But this apparently it's going to be your 53 card trial deck with 3 colors. It's going to be 2. It's going to be blue, black, yellow, and then red, green, yellow, which I don't know why they're doubling up on yellow.
Well, who knows? That's, like I said, the Duel Master starter deck was also red, green, and yellow. I guess, well, with Duel Masters, it was so that you could do a half deck. The problem is you can't really do a half deck with these because of the banners. I mean, if they tossed in a second red banner and say, okay, do a half deck, each person starts with 2 banners, one person is red-green, the other one is red-yellow, that might actually work a little bit better.
And then it was like, he said that every card except for 6 cards are unique, or not unique. So you'll have 6 cards in that deck that are unique, and all of them can foil, but you only get 1 of each.
Yeah, that's a pain. It's now 2 of each in the new decks, you said?
For Vanguard, for Buddy Fight, it's up to 4 of each.
Yeah. Well, I
thought Buddy Fight only need to buy 1 deck.
I thought Buddy Fight was always 4 of each, or did that change for a while?
They changed it with Triple D.
Ah, okay. Because I remember the original ones; they were pretty much really nicely statted out decks. The original.
You also get your Buddy copy, which is foiled, which is real nice. But like, if these aren't, and these come with dice, and apparently come with a deck box inside of them, that's gonna be like a $20 or $25 deck. I don't want to buy 4 of it. Like, if they made it 2 per each, just gave me die, exclude the deck box, I'd be real happy about that. That'd be like with a new game, you really got to be careful on it. I'm still surprised that games are still doing like $20 starter decks. That made me so mad about Lightseekers. Was like, I still need to buy another Astro one.
Yeah, they put in like some priority cards and made them like 1 per deck, and it's like $20 each.
That's
like my big complaint about that. I hope they do something like Konami. I don't know if Vanguard does this too, but Konami reprints deck exclusives eventually. Like Hyperion used to be a deck exclusive.
What Bushiroad's doing now is they're reprinting staple cards in the new version of the trial decks.
Yeah.
So it's like a Chrono Jet, the deck that I play.
I bought 1 pack out of just.
And they're doing the reprint specials. They're doing reprint specials.
I went and bothered a store and asked them about it for a while. I bought a pack and I got the Blau Sentinel.
So they're doing special triple rare and uncommon reprints of cards. So that's really nice. They're doing that now to help like old cards that people need, so they're not price heavy. And they did a reprint set recently. So Bushiroad's definitely paying attention. Like, hey, we need reprints. But then you have Buddy Fight's problems where it's like, a card like Blue Dragon Shield that was $20 and got reprinted at the beginning of every series and stayed like $10-ish. They now reprint almost every set there's Dragon World.
Well, considering that it was like, it's like one of the initial cards. I mean, reprinting
You
it will
even get it
happen
in the trial deck now.
Yeah, well, same with like Swords of Revealing Light or Mirror Force. That's the way it is now too with those cards.
Almost
in,
like 50 Blue
in
Dragon
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Shields
yeah.
at this point.
Maybe I should get some off you.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, they're the staple card because they charge up your finishers.
Yeah,
so.
and it's like, but the trouble is
impacts. That's what they're called.
They're also
they're basically finishers.
They're also saying that like this demo deck, nothing in here is original. It's all in the core set. Also, the trial deck, except for the 6 exclusives, are all in the set.
You wouldn't want to on the demo decks. You don't want to give away anything too powerful. Like I imagine all of these are probably commons. I don't see rarity listed on here.
I know that this promo is their double rare.
Oh, okay. The dragon there. So
because that was one of their card of the days.
Yeah. So the only exclusives we got were basically the
these
art
are
cards.
both triple rares.
Yeah, but those
They're
came without an
vanillas.
ability. The art cards were the only unique ones.
So I don't know. I want to see how they do their product lineups. From what I'm seeing, it's like the set. I think it's 153 for the first set. No banners.
No banners included. No, the banners are going to be like the flags. Hopefully, they're not going to be too hard to get. I know for a while, like the only way to get the Magic World
was a box topper.
Yeah.
That was like a $15 flag. Yeah. And I'm hoping like
I think that was like in my original video about Buddy Fight. I think that was a complaint.
I'm hoping they come up with like different artwork for the flags, even if they're just all generic. I hope they do different artwork.
Or if they have characters that like benefit from having a certain banner in play, that would be.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Like if they had like I'm saying it's called the Standard of Taurus. Tells me it like that's actually like got like the Full Metal Alchemist logo on there, kind of.
Oh, okay. That's totally a World of Warcraft hammer.
Yeah. If they actually had like some flags that were like unique to a certain faction, if they had like factions,
like subclans or archetypes, or
like if they wanted to push multicolor, like if you had like a special banner that named a faction on it, and you had cards in that faction that are like it says faction whatever the card is,
Guardians,
and you can use a banner of any color to pay for this card or something.
It's also like, so they started implementing race more into card fight, and I didn't notice that like they had the race up here.
Well, race has always been a thing in card fight. It just hasn't been terribly important.
They started with it recently. Maybe they'll start doing like some race effects.
I'm seeing a lot of like werebeasts in this deck here. Let's see, we got some goblins, harpies. Let's see, we have
orcs, dragons,
giants, humans,
orcs,
dwarfs. Oh, there's a ton.
There's even like attribute types for the spells.
Oh, fire type, yeah.
So the first set from what the guy me and the guy talked about, like it seems like a very basic first set. Nothing too mind blowing.
Something to get you started.
Something to get you like you're drooling.
I think we'll see if the game has some depth. For the most part, we were given vanilla beaters in the deck. There are some that weren't, like the Goblin Madcap, but a lot of them were just kind of vanilla beaters. Especially if the more powerful cards were all vanilla beaters.
Yeah, I just want to see like how it all lines up.
I mean, I got a better impression of this game than I think I might have gotten from the Dragon Ball. Or maybe, it's up to debate. Because in Dragon Ball, there were some vanilla beaters.
These also full decks.
Yeah, they're full decks instead of half.
So
it's enough for one person to play if you can get two of them.
Yeah. I think that's really all the opinion I have. I'm hoping he does well. It just doesn't feel like Bushiroad to me a little bit. Like
it feels a bit more like Duel Masters. So but Duel Masters is a good game. I wish it might have jumped a little further from Duel Masters. It's Dungeon Duel Masters. It's Dungeon Dice Duel Masters.
Like I mentioned Luck and Logic in the beginning. I think it's really a large combination of Luck and Logic and Duel Masters. Because I can definitely feel the Luck and Logic inspiration here with how they do the layering and the ambush and the traps.
Maybe that's why they did the World of Warcraft angle, was to try to appeal to folks in America a bit more.
So
maybe that's one reason it feels a bit un-Bushiroad, is because it has a bit less of that anime aesthetic.
It's an out-of-Japan card game, not made for Japan.
Yeah, that does feel a little strange.
So,
I don't know if it's entirely out of Japan because the person who came up, who designed the game and Duel Masters is American, I think. And Duel Masters was not out of Japan. That was conceived to help introduce Magic the Gathering to Japanese audiences, and it's still around. It's Duel Masters is still going. Is Battle Spirit still going?
Yep.
People keep asking me about that.
They
to
just
be honest,
released their 31st set in Japan.
Wow. Because to be honest, the only reason I have that Battle Spirit shirt is because I attended a demo event. So if anybody thinks I like played the game for a long time, I'm sorry. You played the game. Maybe we'll have you do a video.
I have quite a few decks. But I don't know. I have hopes. I think it'll be a fun game. It feels like a more mature Duel Masters.
Could be. Even with that acceleration to kind of get over the early game slump.
That mana part and the dice in the middle of the stand and draw. The stand and draw is a classic Bushiroad thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, those are my two.
Maybe it should be allowed to all happen simultaneously.
Yeah. Those are my two big complaints.
Well, okay. I guess that's what we got to say about Dragoborne. Maybe we can arrange to actually play against each other sometime. We can't actually do it at the card store because they're having the Magic the Gathering pre-release, and that crowded the whole thing with over 30 people, and you'd never hear us over everything else going on. So maybe at some point later, maybe some more Light Sneakers. I got some Dragon Ball I'm going to throw around too. So until next time, this is Kodak signing off.
Bye.